Let's talk about audio in the latest version of Video Barbershop that just got updated on Apple's test flight. Link is in the description if you want to download Video Barbershop beta for free right now. You can play around with all these features. New in 1.1.7 is the ability to under the file menu, the main menu, Video Barbershop, there's convert audio file to video and convert video file to audio. This is just a standalone utility. It has nothing to do with the importing or exporting in Video Barbershop itself, but I had some needs for manipulating audio and saving in various things. Something that might be really useful for converting audio file to video is if you have something on a podcast or music or whatever that you have as an audio file that you want to include in your video. Maybe if you want to create a slideshow and you've recorded some audio in your iPhone of you talking about something, you can bring this in, convert it to a video so that you can then edit the video in Video Barbershop using all of its other features. For video to audio, it's taking, say, a commercial with a tagline that you really like and clipping out exactly what you want, and then taking that video and converting it to an audio, say MP3 or WAV or whatever, and using your own personal, say, podcast or something if you're converting, doing that. There's a number of tools in Video Barbershop that are really great for cleaning up audio in a video. So this allows you to bring in commercials or other types of media and use the full set of features for Video Barbershop, but then ultimately export into audio. So I'm going to show an example here. Converting an audio file to video is very systematic, just 3 steps really, and it's all laid out very simply here. Choose an audio file. I'm going to choose my buddy George's song that he created from his band Overlord, City of Ex-Girlfriends. Then you choose how you want that video to be. I'm just going to go with standard resolution for an old school television. Say I've wanted to mix this in with some commercials, do that. I'm not doing that in this case, so it doesn't really matter, but both of these, both the resolution and the frame rate, are the same settings that you have when you export videos in Video Barbershop, and those controls are down in the bottom right here when you're doing your exporting. So if you want to keep things consistent within the project that you're working in, you can choose whatever you want. Now, it will always export as a transparent QuickTime movie. I'm supporting the ProRes codec that allows for transparencies, and instead of just being a black image across the video, I am making it transparent so that if you do convert it to something that doesn't support it, it will be black. However, if you do want to work within a video project and you want transparencies, or maybe you're going to use this as a layer in another software suite that you're editing this in, say like Premiere or Final Cut Pro, slap this in and it has a transparent background on it. You can use Video Barbershop to add in text or watermark or whatever, and it'll still preserve the transparency that you can then leverage in other programs if you want. So it's all there to be had if you so choose, but that will always export into that so that you can use it however you want. And we'll just save it to a folder, generate the video file. It's pretty quick since it's not really doing much as far as video goes. And then, we can just add in the video into our own project here. You see it's got the dimensions and the frame rate that we specified. The codec is that ProRes that supports transparency. So even though that's it does look black right here, it is actually transparent. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip the entire video. Now, ooh, it's a bit large. Let's calm that down a little bit. Now this audio file was from a cassette, a single that George released, and so I've converted from the cassette onto some hardware that converted it into an audio file. So the waveform here isn't necessarily the audio itself. It's more the cassette converting hardware that I had. So never mind that too much. But we can. So we've got the audio anyway. So what I want to do is replace the image and throw some stuff in here and have re-export it as a video with some title screen information in here. So one of the new features that in 1.1.7 is that to replace the image of your video and override it with a static image. This control used to be under the watermark toolset. Under the watermark, you used to choose whether you want to replace the image or you want to use the image as a watermark. I've broken those out into two separate sections so that you can do both at the same time, which was a little limitation before. You could only do one. And I've adjusted the icon here to have something a little more symbolic of a watermark. But the watermarking tool is all within this section. If you want to replace the image of the total video image itself, we override the clip and we add in our image. Now I've got a little cover art that George created for this. It's his single that I pulled the audio from, as well as the cases themselves. Now that looks pretty good, but I just kind of want to zoom in a little bit more. Let's do 10% zoom. Just make that a little bit bigger, focused on those things. Now I do actually, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's offset the Y and have a little padding at the bottom. I'm going to put some text and a logo down there. But now that we've got that in, let's add in a watermark, and I'm going to have a logo. This is really large file size, so we've got to shrink this down to something a little more reasonable. I'm going to drop it in the corner, and let's do an offset of say 10. Offset this, oh, a little too much. Offset that 10, a little in the corner there, and then let's do some text and do Overlord. He spells Overlord lowercase, so I'm going to respect that. City of ex-girlfriends. Now let's just kind of drop that down a little bit, and we'll shift that over, and there. That looks pretty centered, somewhat, mostly. Let's kind of tick that off. All right. Another feature of the 1.1.7 update is if you want to fill in a value completely, just click on these and allow you to edit them. So there we go. So that's now what we have as our title screen for his wonderful song. So I'm going to export the clip now. Actually, you know what, let's just keep it under the same codec, just as an example. So we'll export that. I'm going to throw it into the exports folder. So this might take a little while, since it's taking a transparent image and it's overlaying both text and the watermark and a new image, and it's generating all three of those aspects to it. Now, because I did say it preserves transparency, I'm not going to show it here, but this black bar at the bottom is actually transparent. So if you had something else going on underneath, like television static or some other, video effect, you could see that overlaid as a thing. So just be aware. This will take a little bit longer than if we're just doing straight MP4, type stuff. But ultimately, I'm just going to be exporting it. Yep, and there we go. Should be pretty close to being done here. I think it's just finishing up some formatting. There we go. So as you can see, it is crazy large file, and it's very high quality. It's actually, that is pretty ridiculous for 3 minutes. I'll need to look into that. I'm clearly exporting this at a insane level of quality. So the sample rate, bit rate, interesting. So if you find a bug that you question and you're like, oh, Joby, that seems a little excessive, can we optimize that a little bit? Send me a note through Apple's test flight in the beta. I'd greatly appreciate you finding anything and being like, this seems a little excessive. I think this could be toned down a little bit. But you can see now we have the audio with our graphics overlaid very easily. And so in the next example, let me show you converting video to audio. So I'm going to take that same file that we just did, since it's easy enough example. And just like the other one, it's broken down into the easy to follow steps. This one, however, what I've got are a series of presets for your audio output that you can choose. How the level of quality and some various details I've got bundled into these presets. If you want to customize it, there's always the custom option where you can choose specifically file formats. This is Apple's core audio, raw, lossless format. If you're dealing with some other audio products from Apple, you can export really high quality content into that. You can decide if it's stereo or not, and your bit depth and sample rate. So just lots of options here. Whisper, or if you're wanting to take a video and transcribing the audio for doing translation, subtitles, closed captions, that kind of stuff. Whisper, or the other program Whisper X that's based upon Whisper, requires the audio in a very specific format, and you can feed it a video directly, but under the hood what it's doing is it's converting to a mono, not stereo, and a real low sample rate and bit depth. That's what it's truly optimized for. So I've got an export preset here with those settings, so that if you are taking a video and you're wanting to generate subtitles using Whisper or Whisper X, I make it really easy to do that here. Anyway, so I'm just going to keep these as an example, and then we export it, and as you'll see, this is much faster. So ripping out the audio is much faster. So there's our wave version. So kind of a roundabout way of going from one audio file format to another, but that's not really what this is intended for. This is much more intended for if you have a video and you want to extract out very specific parts of the audio, and maybe you want to use it in your podcast, that kind of stuff. But that's now capable in Video Barbershop 1.1.7. These two settings are really fun to play around with, and if you do find any bugs or any interesting little features that you question, go ahead and give me a buzz. I really appreciate it, and thank you for downloading this and giving it a try. I'm hoping to actually ship this in the next month or so. So I've got some more features coming soon, as well as just spending a ton of time on bug fixes. So definitely, if you've noticed anything, definitely send me a message. Okay, take care. And if you are not familiar with Overlord and my buddy George's band, links are in the description of this video. Highly recommend. He's a great guy, great musician. Really dig his kind of, his pop music. It's a wonderful listen. So a little shout out to George and Overlord there. So okay, thank you. Take care.